Sarah, this building is burned to a crisp. We're going to pan off just a little bit so you can see a little bit closer how the fire destroyed the 3 apartments here, as well as the car that was sitting out front. Now, some of this mess has been cleaned up since this weekend, and as residents pick up the pieces, investigators are still trying to figure out how this fire started. Sarah, for a week, police and the community have been searching for Tiana Sims, and this morning she's safe in the state's custody, but her mother is in jail. I'm standing in about 2.5 feet of water that has filled the parking lot of Fontainebleau Apartments here in East Ridge. This is the main channel where TWRA officials say the barge and the fishing boat collided. While they're still investigating how everything happened, they don't believe any of the fishermen were wearing life jackets. We learned that many of the people that walk through that door to get a loan won't qualify. Police say a man has been soliciting prostitutes and then violently attacking and raping them just a few blocks down the street. I'm here at the number 7 hole of the Brown Acres Golf Course, where the manager says 3 or 4 years ago, this whole side of the bank collapsed into the creek. Well, sir, since the last time we talked to you, the rain out here has picked up and has gotten heavier and heavier. Now, when people come to sites like these to illegally dump their garbage, this is what they hear.
Stop. This is a restricted area, and your program was just taken.
Catoosa firefighters are still putting out hot spots. We spoke to Mayor Littlefield, who says he went back and forth on choosing Dodd as late as yesterday. The rain has just started back up after taking a brief break. It was raining all night long all over the city. Over the weekend, these waters receded, allowing crews to rev up their search for the missing boaters. On Saturday, they found one body. On Sunday, they found another just a few hundred yards away. Now, authorities believe the first body they found is that of Jeremy Landers. The body was found along the boat docks. Then, less than 24 hours later, family and friends got more news. Authorities say they found Jamichael Russell around 8 o'clock Sunday morning, just about a half a mile down from Rivermont Park boat ramp. This brings an end to a search that has lasted nearly a week after the two fell into the water when their boat capsized. This accident is one of several that have happened since the boating season began.
Those river currents are so strong it doesn't take a lot of water, and you can drown. You know, if you can't touch bottom and stand up, then you can drown. And in swift water especially, you know, it doesn't always take those great depths to get into trouble.
Now, there was a third man in the boat when this happened, which was Lander's stepfather, and he was able to make it safely back to shore. All weekend, while the search was going on, family and friends gathered at the Rivermont Park boat ramp, and there is no word yet on funeral arrangements, but you can depend on us to continue following this story. Reporting live from the Tennessee River Park, Amanda Shropshire, News Channel 9. Back to you. Through a maze of caution tape, Alonzo Hayward's family stares at his dead body lying on a porch. Investigators take pictures and place evidence tags to figure out what happened. But we talked to Alonzo's older brother, James, who says he saw the whole thing.
He was suicide. He was not trying to harm no one but himself. And the way they handled it, it was all wrong.
This McDonald's is where everything started. Around 4:30 this morning, police say they drove up to find the depressed 32-year-old holding a rifle to his throat. Family members tell us they pled with Hayward to put the gun down. Instead, he led officers from the McDonald's to this porch where officers tased him. When he didn't calm down, 6 officers shot him multiple times.
I feel bad. I'm really hurt. I'm really hurt.
During a press conference this morning, Police Chief Freeman Cooper tells us the reason police shot Hayward is because he pointed his rifle toward them.
There were multiple shots fired by these officers, but at this time we do not know how many shots were fired or how many times the suspect was shot.
But family members say for Hayward, who was depressed because he couldn't see his daughter, it was several times too many.
He was shaking because they were still tasing him. I could hear the taser. He clenched the gun out of a reflex, and that's when they shot him. I'll say it fit about 10, 15 times.
Why they had to shoot him like that? They shot him about 15 times, reloaded and shot him again? That do not make any kind of common sense.
We'd be clinging to each other right now. He's had some rough times.
But rough times got worse. At 4 o'clock this morning, while Anita Rasmus and her husband Terry were sleeping, the world came crashing down.
The wind wasn't blowing, it wasn't raining or anything like that. The tree just came over and fell on top of the trailer.
Neighbors say they heard the cracks from across the grounds. Anita and her husband were pinned inside for hours.
Just talking to each other and saying we love each other and our goodbyes and stuff like that, just in case neither one of us made it.
Anita says she squirmed to the phone and called 911, but when the ambulance came, it was too late for Terry Rasmus. Limbs had fallen through their bedroom, into his chest, and on his head.
My husband was under the worst of the weight of the log, so firefighters tried to get him out, but they weren't able to get him out soon enough.
At 51, Terry Rasmus, who recently had his leg amputated due to diabetes, died at the hospital.
He started praying that God would take him quick, and I was praying that God not take us at all, that he make it quick, we get out of there. You know, so I guess we both got what we wanted.
Anita says investigators told her the tree fell from rain that soaked the ground earlier that week and softened the tree's roots. Now, Anita Rasmus, who was uprooted from her temporary home this morning, is lost without her husband.
We already got an apartment picked out over there with the housing department, sitting there waiting for us to go to it on the 3rd of this coming month, And I don't know if I'm going to even take it now. I'm probably going to go back with my family.
That's a great job, William.
This is William Harris. At 4 years old, he's just learning to climb stairs. But for this little guy who's been battling since birth, that's a big step in the right direction.
It's been like a roller coaster, up and down. Every time we think we get into a okay place, another shoe falls, and we have to go down a different path.
And recently, William's path to mental and physical development has brought his family to this exercise room at the new Developmental Behavioral Pediatric Center at Siskin. William, who spent the first weeks of his life in ICU, has 9 different doctors. None of them have given William's problems a real diagnosis. But the Harrises hope the new center will keep William's progress rolling right along.
All of his doctors agree that there is something, they just can't put their finger on it, and the missing part, the missing puzzle piece that we've not had for William is the pediatric behaviorist.
Until this center opened, families looking for that puzzle piece were put on waiting lists for treatment in Nashville or Atlanta. Here in his own school building, William works one-on-one with pediatric behaviorist Regina Gargis.
The earlier you can identify a problem and the earlier you can get a child into services, the better the long-term outcome.
This has been a blessing in and of itself, just the fact that, one, we don't have to travel with him.
The Harris family accepts doctors may never find a diagnosis for their son, but this little smile and infectious laugh reminds them each tiny step is a milestone.
There's just a little bit more in there that's just untapped. And we just keep untapping, and we don't know what his potential is, but his daddy and I have, still real big hopes for him.
Amanda Shropshire, News Channel 9. Gerald Toney Sr. places flowers on a memorial for his son. The memorial lies in the very spot where 8-year-old Gerald Toney Jr. was struck by a passing SUV.
I changed my life for him, and now that he's gone, I really don't know where I start. What should I do?
Tony says Gerald was walking with several East Ridge Elementary students to the bus stop on Wakulla Road. Gerald and his friends were waiting to cross the street when the first grader stepped off the curb. Gerald died yesterday from severe brain damage, but also suffered severe injuries to his legs, arms,